the responsible person for all the six licenses is declared to be general manager of the that it was not the intention of the act. Actually, through the separation, we wanted to bring more. The legislators wanted to bring more transparency and accountability. That component is yet to be implemented. And from the Act alone, it is specified the transmission can be given only to C. There can be no other person who can get involved in transmission. That is specified in the Act. But for generation and distribution, there can be other parties who can apply for that. As I mentioned earlier, there are so many small generation companies which are generating electricity. Some of them at small scale, some are there. Private power people are generating, some of them have 100 megawatts, West Coast Power has 207, and so on. Now the other thing that is done through this Act is the separation of regulation and policy. As you all know, CEP governs or controls a large part of the industry. It generates 70% of the Sri Lanka requirement, and transmission 100%, and distribution 90%. So CEP is a giant in the industry, and it is owned by the government. Government owns CEP, and government needs a policy for the industry. And earlier, government was, or the ministry was regulating the industry. There was one engineer, electrical engineer, who was supposed to do the regulation of the industry. When there are problems, consumers have complaints or various sorts of problems, that person has to attend. The standards, that person has to attend. This branch was established in 1950, but never expanded. There was only one engineer throughout. And I was told that engineer has never gone for an inspection. So when there is a problem, someone will say, he is not, he can't tackle that throughout the island. He has never gone for inspection. And the ministry has never taken efforts to expand. And the regulation was really neglected in the ministry. And now from this Act, the regulation is taken away from the ministry and given to a different organization called Public Utilities Commission. And the only role the Public Utilities Commission has to play is regulation of identified industries, that is electricity, water and petroleum products. But the acts related to water and petroleum products are not yet through. So right now, the main responsibility of Public Utilities Commission is to regulate the electrical industry. So it is a co-activity, and it will never be neglected because it is the only and co-activity of the Public Utilities Commission. But this regulation in the ministry was not the co-activity and was affected by the day-to-day political circumstances and was completely neglected. So the benefits that could be reached through proper regulation did not come to people. Now that is one of the main changes that is brought in by this Act. However, Public Utilities Commission is an arm of the government, and it has to do according to the government policy. The various acts in Parliament govern that. In addition to that, there are policy guidelines formulated by the Ministry and passed by the Cabinet, tabled in the Parliament, and coming to the So whatever we do should be according to the policy guidelines laid out by the government. And the Commission, the policy decision in the Commission is taken by 5 eminent people appointed by the Minister of Land Implementation, and there is an engineer, there is an administration and lawyer, plus 2 others, and these 5 people take all the policy decisions The Director General is responsible for implementing and making recommendations to the Commission. Now we can look at the features of this Act from another angle. What change does it bring? It brings consumer protection. It brings third-party interest. It looks into third-party interest, and it looks after the interest of the prospective customer, and it is supposed to protect the industrial assets. So these features are not present in the earlier Act. So through these activities, through these actions, we are promoting industry in more because the investor protection is done and consumer protection is done so that consumers receive a better service. And maybe you will question what is the third party interest. In Sri Lanka, unfortunately, there are so many houses and so many places without access roads. And if such a place wants to take electricity, you have to go to somebody else's premises. And that is the third party. So that party is not interested in that activity at all because PB is interested to provide electricity. The consumer is interested to receive electricity or pay electricity, but the third party has no interest in that. So that third party can object. And earlier the practice was the CEB had special power and they made use of that power and using various mechanisms the electricity line was constructed. But now there is a special place where these third party people can come and bring their grievances. And if they think that some compensation is due, and Public Utilities Commission will be there to support them because of the independence of the CEB or the other industry party, and they can look into these people's interests. Then in the earlier Act, there was no provision to look after the interest of the prospective customers. These are the customers who do not have electricity right now, but they expect to obtain electricity one day. And their interests are not represented through any means. Of course, they go to the politicians, through that they get some help. But now, they can also, their interests are looked after by Public Utilities Commission because Public Utilities Commission gets involved in the planning activity of the licenses. Their future plans should be passed or approved by the Public Utilities Commission. So we can identify the priority area where electrification is needed, and these plans should include and give proper priority for this. But fortunately, there are so many electrification programs going on in the country, and in few years' time, Sri Lanka will be 100% electrified. So there will be hardly any prospective customers. Only prospective customers will be those who construct new houses. But there is a problem in less here because people construct houses where electricity is available. Then electricity connection is not so difficult. Okay, there are many reasons why consumer protection is needed. Consumer is compelled to buy from a monopoly. Electricity is a monopolistic commodity. Whatever you do, whether you have many licenses, many operators, it remains a monopoly because you can't have 2-3 distribution lines going in front of your house. There will be only one distribution, otherwise it is not possible, it is not feasible. And most of the time, that is the situation in Sri Lanka now. In many countries, you have only one place to go when you need electricity, one consumer services center. So the monopolistic factor is there. Whatever you do, whether you have many licenses or not, the monopolistic factor is there. Then consumer can be suffering because of it. Because consumer is a very small person compared to the